Hello, everyone. Today we'll be diving into the realm of Apple cybersecurity, protecting your data with a focus on iPhone vulnerabilities and technologies. Our team is Team Derp, and our team members consist of Riley Doggett, Danny Lin, Pim Warden, and Eric Hayashi. We are all currently taking the course MIST 5785 in the fall of 2023. Let's start with the executive points that we will be talking about today. The first point is Apple's approach to user privacy and security. The second point is iOS iPhone security features and updates. The third point is vulnerabilities and recent threats. And then the fourth point is Apple future technologies and data protection. Beginning with the foundational principles that guide Apple's approach to user privacy and security. The first point is point one, foundational principles. At Apple, user privacy and security are not just features, they're foundational principles. These principles underscore the very essence of Apple's mission to provide a secure and private user experience. The second point is point two, user-centric approach. Apple prioritizes a user-centric approach where users have control over their personal data. This philosophy reflects a belief that individuals should be empowered to make informed choices about their information. The third point is point three, seamless integration. From meticulous hardware design to sophisticated software architecture, security is seamlessly integrated into every facet of Apple eco-security system. It is not an afterthought, but a fundamental consideration in the development of every product and service. The fourth point is point four, transparency and control. Transparency and controls are pivotal. Apple empowers users with clear insights into how their information is handled and provides granular controls over privacy settings. This fosters trust and confidence in the user experience. Moving on, the fifth point is point five, proactive stance. Apple takes a proactive stance on security. By investing in research and development, the company anticipates and counters emerging threats. This approach ensures that Apple products not only meet current security standards, but also evolve to address future challenges. The sixth point is point six, industry influence. Beyond this ecosystem, Apple's commitment influences industry standards. The company's dedication to security sets a high bar, encouraging the collective pursuit of a safer digital landscape. The last and seventh point is point seven, safeguarding trust. In a sense, Apple's security philosophy is a commitment to safeguarding user trust. Through innovation, transparency, and industry leadership, Apple sets a standard that goes beyond protecting data. It's about safeguarding the trust that users place in the Apple ecosystem. In conclusion, as we explore Apple's security philosophy today, we'll see how these principles manifest in these technologies and practice employed by Apple to create a secure and trustworthy user experience.
Hello, my name is Eric Hayashi, and I'll be going over iOS's security features and updates. So, Apple has been really good at regularly updating its iOS operating system to enhance its security and introduce new features for security. An example for Apple's security features is device encryption. All Apple devices are encrypted by default using hardware and software encryption. This ensures that even if someone gains unauthorized access to your Apple device, they won't be able to access sensitive information without the device's passcode. iOS also has its own Apple App Store that makes sure all apps are regulated and reviewed before allowing them to be on the App Store, aiming to ensure that apps meet certain security and quality standards. This help reduces the likelihood of malicious apps such as malwares and spying apps being distributed to the users. However, if you do think your system is compromised, you can switch on iOS's lockdown mode, which is an optional and extremely protective service that helps to protect devices against rare and more sophisticated cyber attacks. It is aimed to reduce the attack surface that potentially could be exploited by certain apps and websites, and features are strictly limited for security, and some experience might not be available at all, but that's the trade-off you get with a more secured version of your iOS. This feature was introduced in iOS 16, which was not very long ago. It was no longer than a year ago. One feature that Apple prides themselves over is their Face ID technology, which is very advanced compared to other phones. It allows users to unlock their iOS devices, make secure payments, and access sensitive information by using facial recognition. They prioritize security features over anything with Face ID. developing multiple cameras and sensors using like 3D and face step technology to ensure that Face ID is 100% secure. Other little things with security, such for Apple, can be their implementation on their web browser, like Safari, which is much more secure than Google Chrome because like Safari have like security options that can lock your windows when you're not using them and other security options, which Apple seems to be very on top of.
Like many other big tech companies, Apple's had multiple iPhone vulnerabilities in its past, but here are some of the most recent from 2023. CVE, or otherwise known as Common Vulnerability Exposures, is a term that Apple uses to distinguish certain vulnerabilities that it's faced in its past. The first vulnerability I want to talk about is 41992, which was a vulnerability that allowed for a logged in user to execute arbitrary code. Arbitrary code, in simple terms, essentially means that the user is able to run any code of its choice, whether it be for malicious purposes or other reasons. CVE 42824 allowed for attackers to elevate their privileges on the iPhone and was able to gain access to root files and also was able to run arbitrary code similar to 41992. This vulnerability was actively exploited. However, it remains unknown who exactly the perpetrators were and what they accomplished with this vulnerability. The next vulnerability I want to talk about is 41991. This vulnerability related to a certification validation allowed for attackers to bypass validation, allowing for the potential download of malicious software. Validation, in simple terms, essentially means that the iPhone runs a software in the background without you even knowing it that distinguishes whether or not software or websites that the user tries to run are safe for the iPhone. And depending on whether or not it's dangerous, it may deny um, your wish to run it. This can allow for the potential download of malicious software. This vulnerability was exploited by an Israeli spyware vendor used to target an Egyptian president and release libel data on his behalf in order to mess up his campaign run. The final vulnerability I want to talk about was CVE 23520, which is a race condition vulnerability that allowed for a malicious actor to read arbitrary files as root. Again, arbitrary files essentially means that the attacker could read any file that they chose, but in terms of root, it means that they have superior privileges compared to a normal user.
Yeah, so I'm here to talk to you all about Apple's future technologies and their data protection. So Apple does have a 10-year plan in place. They have a few new things they want to introduce. However, nothing really groundbreaking in terms of a new product or anything like that. Um, However, a few of these things would be that they want to introduce are a new augmented reality platform. So this would be like a VR, virtual reality headset that projects like digital images of the real world. They want to introduce virtual reality development tools, so new tools and features for virtual reality. They want to introduce the HomePod speaker and improvements to iOS 11 on the iPad. Apple does believe that these things will power our future. And yeah, so in terms of data protection, Apple has consistently emphasized its commitment to user privacy and data protection. The company has implemented various features such as differential privacy and on-device processing to minimize the collection of personal information and enhance user security. Apple's use of end-to-end encryption for iMessage and FaceTime further underscores its dedication to safeguarding user data. Looking ahead, it's plausible to expect Apple to continue investing in cutting-edge technologies that prioritize user privacy, possibly incorporating advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning to further enhance data protection measures. Apple has always done a fantastic job in terms of security, data protection. I've never had any problem with any of my Apple products in terms of getting hacked or losing any data, losing anything. So, yeah.
As we reach the end of the presentation, we want to instill the thinking process that the commitment of Apple to user privacy and security is not just about features, it's about foundational principles. Thank you for providing us your undivided attention for today. Thank you.